we already know that this is getting gamma hedged at that price, right? So we can already recognize the gamma hedging coming in from that price. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that there was a directional buyer that came in at that point, right? So this becomes a sticky level, at least initially, for that seller coming in here. If the price goes below this, this becomes a slippy level above here. Okay, so because that's a call option that came in here, this becomes a very, very slippy level back above here. So that's something you're already aware of. It doesn't mean they're going to buy back in here, because these guys here, remember, they're happy to see this happen. So when the price comes down to this area, they're happy, delighted to see that price area. So this becomes a slippy price area. Why? If I've bought the S&P during that period there, if I buy the S&P at that price, when the price rallies and it starts declining, I've got to try and get rid of that S&P because I don't need it anymore. So obviously, if it comes down hard like this, then I don't have a chance to get rid of that S&P, so I'm going to have to start selling below the line. So this line becomes a slippy line. When you see a call option spike, it becomes a slippy line. And when you saw another call option spike on this candle here, this line has just got even slippier, right? So you know there's an awful lot of gammas above this area, correct? There's an awful lot of gammas above this level. So this becomes what is called a gamma flip here. So obviously the dealers, they have to unwind. They have to unwind their stock position at this price. They have to unwind their stock position at this price. Hold on a second, guys. We've got quite some active SNDL options again this morning. This has been quite an active player for the last short while. SNDL implied volatilities of 440 this morning, guys. Okay, so what are we now seeing? It's all call options at the moment, right? So it's all call options, and yet we've ended up getting down into a bottom edge, which means somebody's using this to build a synthetic sell side trade. Every time you see a spike, you should automatically see a green candle. If their spike is to the upside, the candle should be green. When the candle's not green, that gives me a read that somebody is doing a sell trade at that stage. So if somebody's doing a sell trade at that stage, we can obviously start watching it. Well, that sell trade started right there, didn't it? The sell trade actually started at that point right there. And because the sell trade started at that point, you can see it. You can actually see that sell trade coming in. As soon as this hits, you know that this is going to be an unwind, and that sends the price careering off that level. Now, the one thing you're also aware of right now is what? You're aware that above this price, because this extra position here, that comes in at this on that extra position there comes in just on these last few candles here. So what does that tell us? Well, that tells us that there's a little bit of gamma required above here. So the dealers will have to buy above this price. And obviously when we get the big moves, we've just had a huge move again there, guys, a huge move at that stage. Interestingly enough, they've bought that one, right? So that's exactly what you would expect to see. So this looks like a low price that's just get put in here. So we start watching this price area here. But obviously if they can push above this price, the guys that traded this call option, and the dealers never went long, and if they did go long, they've unwound that position. If they can go above this price, that brings all of the delta, all of the gammas and deltas into play at that stage on those call options, doesn't it? So what's going to have to happen is the dealers are going to have to buy against these gamma flip levels. So there's a dealer buy here, there's a dealer buy here, and there's actually a dealer buy up here as well. So obviously if they can actually start getting this moving, these are all going to be explosive levels for dealer buying, right? So these are called gamma flip levels. The gamma is going to be flipping over on those individual trades. Now take a look at what happened to that program sale at the top edge. Did that work out quite nice, guys? Well, yeah, it did work out beautifully, didn't it? Because we could start to recognize a couple of things that were starting to develop, and it all started from that absorption of that buy spike. That's where it all started, didn't it? So when it starts from that absorption of that buy spike, the rest of the sell-off just rolled. You can see that we got this kind of macro dropping phase here, which drove the price off that first level, started to run through some of those gamma levels. And you can see that the outcome from that, Alan, was very, very powerful, of course. Very powerful indeed, right?
There you go, Gene, doing the work. Gene's in 3. Gene loves the cats. You've had some really, really good days. Cliff, you've been picking up some really nice ones. Bring on the cash. I got tickled the other day when now it's like, oh, that one only made 20 or 30%. Of course, the 110s, the big ones are fun, but it's those base hits, the singles that add up each and every day. Good stuff. Happy Thursday, guys. Oh, you missed it. I saw that Cliff was in SNDL. Nice work, Cliff.
Gold came straight back to that big old level again, guys. Traded this level this morning at 1840s. I don't know if anybody remembered to keep it on the charts, but 1840s again, guys, and 1840s again shows up. Anybody do the 1840s again on that big spike in volume, guys? Yes, no, don't know, don't care. Anyone? Yep, the bullet trade, massive volume, biggest volume of the day so far, Paul. 1840, biggest volume of the day, 1840s. Crazy sensational. Crazy, crazy, crazy sensational, guys. Big spike on a possible, big spike on a trade there, but there's no big volume on it, so I'm not going to be reading that as a buy program, guys. It's just a change in the narrative there, so it's not a buy program that kicked off. I've got a bit of short oil actually on the books just now, and I'm just taking profits down here. I took some profits at the 50. I got some short short oil into an order flow trade, and you know, we sold basically as the market broke south out of that area, and we've taken 20 ticks. We've taken 20 ticks in the trade, guys, so I'm happy with that. Did anybody buy some long bonds? Reasonable volumes. Good gilts trade narrative in the background. The we've been talking about bidding for real yields when it hits into these areas, and we've been talking about that all morning. So when we're talking about bidding for real yields when it hits into this area, when we start seeing the carry trade adjusting to the upside as well, I start paying attention to the bottom edge again on the bond at that stage. And sure enough, we've managed to pick up a very reasonable little trade there. It's came off the 31s and the zeros. It's came up to the 9s. It's a little bit edgy, guys. Just a little bit edgy. But it's edgy enough to make some money on it. It's edgy enough to make some money, guys. So, yeah, I quite liked it. I took a trade. I don't know if anybody else took it. Praveen took it. I assume you're talking about that trade there and not the gold trade. Big wholesale price, 202s as well. So that's something you'd be aware of, is that there is a big wholesale price in the background. And I'm not thinking it's a brilliant trade, but it's a good wee trade. I mean, we've got a good little bit of discount. Every time the price has been in this area before, we've seen buyers. So, you know, we can bid for that real yield, yeah? That's what we do as traders. We bid to buy yield. Remember, that's what they're doing in the basis trade. They're buying that blue line. It doesn't matter where the price is of bonds. They're buying the blue line. That's the number they want. That number is the number they want to buy. So this is why it becomes useful for us to recognize the blue line's relative buy points. And that means where the blue line drops, the blue line drops, the blue line drops, that means they're buying the blue line at those points. So when I know that they're buying at these areas, this makes the bond approachable. So when the carry trade starts rising, I want to buy into the bond at that stage, take advantage of the carry trade rising and make my monies. Make my monies. All good? All good, guys. Huge numbers of calls going off in these areas, and the dealers are still getting smashed up about them. So we're thinking that, you know, obviously the dealer's going to have to buy a lot of stock down here, guys. There's going to have to be a lot of stock buying from this balance area here. You know, we've obviously, we're watching this to see how this gamma level develops, but this is turning into one hell of a big gamma level right here. The dealers are not buying just yet, so they're obviously a little bit concerned. But this is getting a big gamma short position into the books, and there could be an explosive move out of here. At the moment, they are buying, but somebody's selling against them, which makes the move currently still bearish just now. So, you know, but you know, if that guy stops doing that trade, the dealers are going to rock to the upside here.